10% of the adult population in the U.S. is depressed or has some type of mood disorder. That's 20 million people. So how do you know if you're one of them? Today is National Depression Screening Day. For this week's Take Action Thursday, Jeff Richardson with Mental Health Association of Maryland is joining us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, when we talk about depression or mood disorders, what exactly do we mean?
Well, it's a bunch of things all kind of wrapped together, but we're really talking about kind of a range of challenges. From the first end is when someone's feeling down and having a few days where they're feeling blue, to one that's really affecting someone's ability to function. And so there's really what we're here today to talk about is to make sure that everyone gets a screening. It's very available. Treatment is very effective for depression, and we're really urging people to go out and do a screening online at our website and reach out for help.
Is it normal to have blah days some days? I mean, you really don't feel like interacting with other people. You'd rather just stay in bed and watch TV or, you know, old movies or something like that.
Yeah, well, it's raining today, right?
This is a good day for that.
The traffic's crappy.
Yes.
You know, it's not even the weekend yet. There's lots of things that really make us all struggle. But you know, really what we're talking about is something more than that. Again, you know, depression has so many challenging impacts on someone's life. Beyond the mood and the depression, it's the ability to relate with family, be able to work, be able to manage your health symptoms.
And so those are the symptoms when you know it's more than just, oh, I need a day to stay home and relax. Well, I mean, it escalates. Exactly.
I mean, I think there's a combination of things, and people manifest it in very different ways. I mean, some people you may see the traditional symptoms, or they tend to cry, deep sadness, withdrawal. But again, these are persistent symptoms, ones that last for more than a couple of days, that'll last for a couple of weeks at a time.
And then we have the extreme, like what we saw last week or earlier this week when the woman was ramming the barricade at the White House, and they said that there was some depression and mental disorder there.
Yes, and I think typically with someone who has a major depression, generally their biggest challenge is not any kind of violence. It's around either suicidality, someone who wants to harm themselves, or simply not being able to function in their lives. And the impact that that has is enormous. The cost to our economy, cost to families, cost to so many things here are contributed to depression. And it's, again, a very successful treatment.
Is a person who is depressed or experiencing that, are they likely to be the ones to seek out help, or is it the family members and friends around them who notice it and say, I think you should get help?
The answer is both. But of course, you know, many times we identify things that what we're struggling with. Other people may see it first. But again, with this online screening, we're urging both family and individuals to do the screening and actually bring it with them to their doctor or talk about it with their family.
So what is the treatment if you're diagnosed with it?
There's a number of things that work. Many times it's medication, sometimes it's talk therapy, sometimes it's also getting a medical screening to assure that there aren't any underlying medical challenges that someone has. But again, treatment is very effective, and the combination of talk therapy and medication have shown enormous successful results.
Is it successful in that it can cure you of it, or is it successful in that you learn how to live with that for?
For some people, it's learning to live with it. Others, that it's a very short, focused intervention, and people may never have experienced that again. But again, part of that is understanding your own triggers, the own experiences that you might have.
I was going to say, do we know why? What are other? I mean, and I guess that's going to be different for every person. But are there some people who are more susceptible to it than others?
There are. I mean, I think again, this is a medical condition, which means that sometimes it runs in families. We see that very often. We also see signs when people start to really change at certain points in their life. Significant challenges that they might have. But again, it follows families and very often, and siblings as well.
All right, we're going to get you to stick around and answer some more questions for us. But if you would like more resources for depression, you can go to our website, foxbaltimore.com/morning. And right after the break, we have Jeff, who's going to stick around with us. He's going to take your calls about mental health and depression. So if you do have a question, our phone lines are open at 410-481-4545. You can also send us a tweet at Fox Baltimore, or you can go through our Facebook page. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Fox.
We are back with Jeff Richardson with Mental Health Association of Maryland, and he is taking your calls about mental health and depression for our Take Action Thursday. If you have a question, our phone lines are open now at 410-481-4545. You can also send us a tweet or go through our Facebook page. Our first caller is Nicole in East Baltimore. Hi, Nicole.
How are you?
We are great. What's your question?
My question is, I'm one that suffers with post-traumatic stress syndrome, and I recognize that depression and anxiety is one of my symptoms that come with it. And I recognize that in one of my family members. And my question is what do you do, or how do you get them to recognize the same thing so that they can get the help?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of times, as we were talking earlier, we're sometimes the last time to notice when we're experiencing these symptoms. I think first off, it's great that you see those signs. Hopefully you can talk to them about what you're seeing. Be a supportive listener, provide information. One of the things that I didn't mention earlier, but again, this online screening tool that we have is on the website mhamd.org, which is the Mental Health Association of Maryland.org. There's also a tremendous amount of online information about PTSD. You can certainly call the Mental Health Association of Maryland or my organization, Mosaic Community Services, and we'd be happy to help them. But again, family members, friends, supportive family members and friends are probably the most helpful resource for anyone.
And maybe if she were to encourage her to take that screening, she could see, oh, I am answering yes to a lot of these questions.
Exactly,
And,
some self-awareness. But sometimes when you're so depressed, you need that support by friends and family and medical professionals.
That makes sense. All right, let's go to our Facebook page. We had several people who wrote in questions there. Samiko says, how do you cope with it naturally? They're not interested in medications and other treatments.
Well, Samiko, there's a lot of things you can do to manage depression and not major depression through natural ways. I think a lot of times we diminish things that are critical for all of our health. Good sleep, cut back on alcohol and drugs, exercise. All of those things have enormous impacts on people's total health and will affect your mood. But again, I would urge anyone that's impacting their functional capacity to get up, do the things you need to do. Then you need to reach out to a professional and then help work with someone on a plan. But medication is not always the answer, and there are lots of other resources.
All right, several more questions that we don't have time to get to, but we will put all of his information on our website. So if you want to continue to follow up, you'll have access to that information there. Jeff, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Well, coming up in our 8 o'clock